Again, another very opportune space in our season for the bye week to come. I feel like we got a lot of work accomplished last week, both on the field and off the field, needing to rest and recover, but also, as I mentioned to Chip on the conference call, this is every bye week is a mad dash to play catch up when you've got 7 new coaches and a brand new offense and defensive system, and you've got everything from with no spring practice, no summer training, a really weird training camp, and then you come back in and try to have a sense of normalcy in June, and our kids are all displaced, changing in visitors' locker rooms, our team meeting room being the 8th floor club lounge here in the north end zone, and our meeting rooms being donor suites that have been converted during the week. And so our kids have handled a tremendous amount of adversity, and I think we all really look forward to the bye weeks, not just for the day or two off that we get at the beginning and end of the week, but for the ability to, again, just try like crazy to play catch up on all the reps and teaching and instruction and learning moments that we missed throughout the pandemic. And I think our kids have handled not just this bye week, but the one prior to really, really well. And I'm very appreciative of them for that fact. Injury update, had a couple guys go down at the same position during practice last week. Cade Brewer with a chest contusion, Jared Wiley with a shoulder deal. So our tight end room is pretty thin. I don't know how much 12 personnel that we'll see throughout the game. Josh Moore is listed as questionable right now. He is getting better, however, not quite as swiftly as we had hoped. Keandre Coburn is back at practice, as is Jordan Whittington. So figured those would be the guys that you would be asking about the most. Excited for another opportunity to get back out on the field Saturday and put the bye week and the things that we've learned, the reps that we took, put them to good use, and hopefully have an opportunity to go 1-0 in Lawrence, Kansas. Questions?
Go ahead, raise your hand if you have a question. Kirk, you can start it off.
Yeah, Tom, to follow up on the question I asked you on the Big 12, we've seen 5 games canceled this week, 70 on the year already. What's your level of confidence that this college football season is going to get to the finish line?
I know it sounds like coach speak, Kirk, and I don't mean to dismiss your question, but I don't think about those things, and so I don't know. We are so focused on Kansas right now and our team and what we need to do and where we need to improve to put up a good showing against Kansas on the road, that it really there's really no space in my brain to be occupied by thoughts of things that we can't control. And so I don't have a great answer for you other than we're focused on Kansas, and we'll let those decisions be made by people that are not coaches.
John Hyde, go ahead.
Coach, what concerns do you have for your team as they're getting ready to play a team that hadn't won any games? And also, is this a game that you hope to get guys like Casey Thompson in that haven't played much this season?
Well, I think the concern is one that, playing on the road is difficult. You obviously look at a record and can be, if you're not mature enough, can be swayed by that record. I think, though, we've got a mature group of guys that have gotten tremendously better, both individually and as a team throughout the season. And, I mean, with 3 out of the last 4 years, all you need to do is point to 3 out of the last, or 5 years, right? 4 out of the last 5 years, whatever metric you want to use. But 3 out of the previous 4 years, you know, we needed a last-second field goal last year to beat them, needed to recover 2 onside kicks. The last time we were in Lawrence had a good showing here in 2017, and in 2016, they beat Texas for the only time in the last 17 meetings. So recent history has shown that we're going to need to bring our A game to win the game and do the things that you know, we know that we're capable of doing. And as far as the second part of your question, we let those things kind of hopefully play themselves out. We don't ever anticipate anything like that. You worry about winning the football game, and then you worry about those things throughout the course of the game.
Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, down the line, guys, and then just trying to figure out numbers just in terms of when do you have discussions with seniors that might be interested in coming back with the extra year of eligibility, just trying to figure out kind of right now where you are numbers-wise next year with so many things seeming like they're up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, the whole world's up in the air right now, Jeff, and so you kind of, you know, play it by ear, take it day by day, whatever, you know, phrase you want to use. And no, we have used the bye week to get some young guys some reps. I mentioned on the teleconference, I think the 2 corners, 2 young corners, 2 freshman corners, and Jade Barron and Keaton Crawford continue to get better. Prince Dorba is a guy that you see the light bulb coming on slowly but surely. You know, there's you know, Tyler Johnson has been, you know, repping with the 2s and rotating with the scout team. I'm trying to think of guys on offense. Most of the young guys are already over there with the varsity. Sawyer Gorham Welch is a guy that continues to get some quality reps. So really, really excited and pleased with this freshman class. I think this freshman class, if they stay together, we had a meeting with them a couple weeks ago, just myself and Kevin Washington, Coach McKnight, just about, you know, just honesty with them and what we see. And we think that there's a lot of potential starters in that group that if they stay together and stay the course and continue to develop the way that they have here the last few weeks, that you know, they've got a very high ceiling as a class. And then as far as roster management is concerned and numbers, we're not going to have those conversations. We've got a 4-game stretch right now that, you know, if we take care of business, will be a 4-game stretch. And, you know, that's the only thing we're concerned about right now is, you know, beating Kansas to start that 4-game stretch off. And we'll have those conversations with the seniors and some of the juniors that may be tempted to come out. As you've seen, we haven't, you know, the juniors that have declared early in recent history here have not been drafted nearly as high as they thought maybe they were when they declared. And I hope that that is a very cautionary tale to the guys that are thinking about it, to really pay attention to the NFL draft committee, as well as you know, our assessment of where they're at and the feedback that we get from scouts and general managers. So, but those conversations will be had in December.
You're up.
I'll just go back to what you were talking about with the close games against Kansas. The average margin of victory in the last 3 years is only 8. I'm curious if that matters at all, and why you think these games have been so close against a program that struggled so much. And does it matter? I mean, you are 3-0 against them.
No, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they all count the same. You know, a 2-point loss to TCU counts the same as a 7-point victory against Oklahoma State. And so, you know, we got the job done, which is first and foremost, you know, job number one. And to answer why, I think, you know, one, you know, human nature is very difficult to defeat. You know, when people ask me what I do for a living, I say I fight human nature every second of every day. That's my job. Because, 18 to 22-year-olds are going to look at records. They're going to look at point spreads. They're going to look at articles. They're going to look at this, look at that. And it's our job to make sure that we bring them down to earth and remind them that we are the University of Texas, a school that 11 different universities identified as a rival with. And, we're going to get everything they got. And the team that you see on film is not going to be the same team that shows up Saturday in Lawrence. And especially after a bye week and getting, I think I counted, at least on defense, they had three starters out against Oklahoma, a few other starters out on offense as well. I would imagine those guys that were out are now back and healthy and fresh and ready to go. And we're going to get their best shot. And, we understand that. And it's our job to respond to that.
Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, Tom, I wanted to ask you a question that Gary Patterson was asked this on the Big 12 conference call, and I thought it was very interesting as a concept. Do you think that all the things that you've talked about, the COVID, the coaches, everything, and with teams getting games suspended, do you think this season counts at all?
Yeah, it does. That would be unfair to every single player that put their body on the line this season to say that it doesn't count, or in some way is the result is lessened because of any circumstance outside of their control. I don't think that's fair to the players and the coaches or the team. Now, should any of us be judged by the craziness that is this season, that's for you to decide. I've got my opinions, but
I'd like to hear them.
well, I know you would, and I'd like to keep them to myself. But you see teams starting off 1-3, 0-4, and you feel for teams like that because you know what it was like, these last 8-9 months. You know what it was like, having to install new offenses and defenses with no spring practice. I mean, there's just so many obstacles that have been presented to these teams and these staffs and these players that, it's a minor miracle that we're sitting here in the middle of November and we're, just a few weeks away from a conference championship game. And, but we did it. And like Gary said, I think, hats off to the Big 12 and their leadership for stepping out on the limb and kind of being the first to say, hey, we're going to go do this, and we're going to figure out a way to do it. And knock on wood, we've done it pretty well in comparison to other leagues as well. But no, this season definitely counts, and to say anything other than that would be a slap in the face, in my opinion, to the young men that have put their bodies and their health, their internal health, on the line each and every week to play this great game for the enjoyment of the masses.
Anwar, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Coach, I know you are a 1-0 kind of guy, and I know you don't live on social media, but your players live on social media, and recruits also live on social media. So my two questions are, what do you say to those groups of people who constantly see rumors out there that you might lose your job for Urban Meyer after this season? And are you concerned at all about your job security?
No, not at all. I'm concerned about our players. I'm concerned about this program. I'm concerned about beating Kansas. I'm concerned about all of our goals still being in front of us. But to directly answer your question, I do think with the players it's really easy. I mean, these guys, they've seen it all, done it all. I mean, it's almost comical at times to them because they know the truth, Anwar. That's the biggest mitigating factor in this is there's a section of people which is our program, our coaches, the people intimately involved in the day-to-day operations of our enterprise, if you will, that know the truth. And then there's rumors, and there's unnamed sources. There's internet reporters with agendas that claim their own opinion as fact, and hide behind unnamed sources and things of that nature. So the player part is really easy, almost comical, to the point where sometimes a kid will come up to me and say, "Coach, you'll never guess what lunacy just came across my feed. This is crazy, right?" The recruiting part's a different story, because, you know, when you have the things that have been written about us and our program, myself and our future, very unfounded articles that state, again, opinion as fact, that state unnamed sources as being factual, it's very hard to defend against, because if I'm a competing recruiter, what do? You press print and you say, look, this is true. It must be true. It's on so-and-so orangefans.com, right? It must be true. Or it was written by this guy, so it must be true. Or this source said this, so it must be true. And, you know, that is really, really the hard part in recruiting, is because these 16-year-old kids are very impressionable. And unfortunately, you know, when negativity gets written, especially unfounded, rumor-based, unnamed source-based negativity gets written, then it makes our competing recruiters' jobs just so much more easy. They just press print and say, here you go. But as far as the reality is concerned, no, I mean, we understand that we have the support of thousands, hundreds of thousands, tons of our fan base, and we certainly appreciate that. We understand the difference between vocal minorities and people who make decisions and their beliefs. I couldn't be more aligned with our athletic director, my boss, again, who we meet with constantly, who has assured me of his support and the support of university leadership, and has even commended me and our staff and our program for how we have handled the craziest year in college football history. So, you know, we've gone as far to say he's even offered, you know, if a recruit wants to talk to him, you know, to give that recruit his number. But yeah, it does get difficult. It gets exhausting more than anything, Anwar, to have to extinguish all of these unfounded, baseless claims that are hidden behind unnamed sources and agendas. And I don't know why it's more here at Texas than other places, but it is, and it's something that we deal with on a daily basis. And, you know, I couldn't be happier with our staff, couldn't be happier with that locker room and the players in it. We were brought here to build something with the ability to have sustained level of success. And we are very, very happy and proud of our trajectory in getting that job done here for years and years to come. And as has been told to me, so is the leadership at this university.
Cedric, go ahead.
Great, I get to follow that. Tom, I know you've updated us on your the health of your team. How's Sam doing? How much did you work him, and how much did you sit him? Because you know, he's told us he's been banged up for a while.
Oh man, he is healthy. He's healthy. He practiced every rep of every practice. No, there isn't a difference between limited and missing practice. He was not limited. He didn't miss a practice. He feels better now than he's felt in many, many months. So he has taken every rep, and he feels really good.
Terry, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Coach. So another crucial part of your offense is Cameron Dicker. And so with these last 2 weeks and his new responsibilities with being a punter, how is he doing? How is he prepared for that? Do you have any plans to give him extra protection when he's punting? Because we kind of need him, and so curious your thoughts on that.
No, extra protection, I mean, we have, two gunners, which is pretty commonplace in college football, and then the rest of the guys in the corps are there to protect the punter. So no real necessity for extra protection. Cameron's done a great job, exceeded everybody's thoughts about his ability to do it. Cameron did punt in high school, and he's actually got a really quick get off time and can get a lot of hang time on the ball. Now, is he going to sail it 60 yards? Probably not, but sometimes it's better to have a 42-yard punt with a 4.5 hang time than it is a 60-yard punt with a 3.5 hang time. We would take that any day of the week. So he's done great in practice. We've rushed the ever-living you-know-what out of him in practice and tried to make him nervous, tried to get bodies around him, tried to make him uncomfortable back there. But much like he is, lining up for the game winner as a true freshman against Oklahoma, that's kind of the way he is back there. He's unflappable. You can't phase him, and he has done surprisingly well back there.
Roger, you're up.
Hey, Tom, the defense seems to be less of a punchline and more of a way to win games in the Big 12. You win with 17. Some of your numbers are skewed because of overtimes. Do you think defenses are kind of evening the playing field with the high-powered offense? Is this an aberration, or how do you kind of look at that?
I don't know. I haven't really looked at it in depth. I do think that defenses in the Big 12 have gotten better, as evidenced by, West Virginia just continuing to do what they do defensively. I'm sure I got accused of coach speak when I praised their defense prior to us playing them, and all they do is continue to go out and hold people to 20, 30 points less than their season average. So we've got some really good defenses in this conference. Our defense is playing really well right now, as well as Oklahoma State's defense. And so, again, I think some of it may be, breaking in new quarterbacks. There's a lot more rhythm involved in offensive football. I know for us, we're breaking in a brand new set of wide receivers, as well as a brand new system with no spring practice or summer or anything like that. And so, I think to say that there's one thing you can point to would be a fallacy. I think there's just each and every defense is different. I know for us, we're growing quite a bit each and every week. I know for a team like West Virginia, I don't want to speak for them, but their front six, that's a veteran group. The same with Oklahoma State. Why do they play great defense? They've got 4th and 5th year guys that are starting there. So I think as you see the experience level on that side of the ball go up, and the amount of repetitions within a certain system go up, then production goes up. And I think, again, with offenses kind of having to feel their way around early in the season, without a spring ball, I think that led to, once we got the tackling issues under control, and I say we, not just Texas, but most teams across the country, once you get the tackling issues under control, I think that allows you to play a lot more assignment sound football on defense, and you're seeing a continual improvement, not just by us, but by most teams in our league.
We got time for the last 4 questions in queue. Won't be able to add any others, but go ahead and start with Chip.
Tom, I think you said the passing game would be a point of emphasis in the bye week. So wondering what you saw in the passing game, and who is the holder for Cameron Dicker now?
We're still having tryouts for the holders right now, so we'll name a starting holder, I'm sure at some point this week, and what did we see in the passing game? Again, you're talking about 2 practices, Tuesday and Thursday. Just guys getting better on both sides of the ball. I thought our corners were playing the deep ball better. I thought our receivers were fighting for balls better. I thought the quarterback was putting balls where he needed to put balls. So we're still a enormous work in progress where that's concerned, especially when you don't have your full complement of receivers that are out there, and certainly after Thursday we didn't have our full complement of tight ends either, but we felt like we made some pretty significant improvements in that area on both sides of the ball.
Joe, go ahead.
Coach, I heard you mention on the conference call, and I think you said it here, you're trying to do something that this program hasn't done in 12 years. So, but I know you also have, with that big picture goal of the conference championship, you always emphasize, going 1-0, playing the opponent in front of you. So how do you balance your message to the team of, playing Kansas with also the overall goal of trying to reach Arlington and win a Big 12 championship?
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple math, right? I mean, you can't win them all until you win the first one. And so, we've got to take care of Kansas and prepare to beat Kansas as if it was the last game of the season, just like we had to do against West Virginia and Oklahoma State and Baylor prior to that. And, we'll let the future handle itself, but, the kids in the locker room really, I mean, they understand what we have to play for. It's our job as coaches to make sure that their sights aren't on, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, but that their sights are on the task at hand, which is trying to go win another conference game.